launched a 90 amnesty period within which defaulting employers are given a chance to have up to 95% of their penalty amount waived.
Now, the NSSF Amnesty Campaign is an initiative that seeks to recover over 160 billion Uganda shillings from the defaulting employers during the amnesty window. Now, questions have been raised about the timing of this campaign, for how long it will run, and reasoning behind the initiative. Why is NSSF doing this? And we're going to be answering those questions, not Mala and I, but the guests who are joining us this morning. Now, we do have the NSSF Relationship Manager with us this morning, Senior Relationship Manager. That is Mr. Tadeo Twahira.
Yes.
Welcome to Morning at NTV.
Thank you very much.
We're joined by Contributions Manager from NSSF as well. That is Mr. David Mwesigwa Ramutunji. Welcome to Morning at NTV.
Thank you, and good morning, viewers.
Good morning. All right, let's kick it off. NSSF now coming up with this NSSF, amnesty campaign. What informed this? Is it that we're having a growing number of corporates who are not being compliant, so to speak? We can start with you, Mr. Mwesigwa.
Yeah, as one of the hosts has already said, amnesty campaign is one of the initiatives that we've launched, because we have realized that some employers are not paying, and we are talking of about 11,000 out of the 33,000 employers on our database. So when you look at that percentage, about 33% of our members or our employers on database are not paying. And when we say are not paying, we are talking of employers that have not paid for 2 months to 7 years. And there are so many reasons why these employers don't pay. Some, maybe it's deliberate. We don't want to believe that it's deliberate. Some are struggling because maybe of the cash flows. So at the back of our minds, we said, okay, let's give these people an opportunity to come and do self-disclosure. And then we support them by waiving off up to about 95% of the penalty costs. So it's a benefit to the employers, because you will save that avoidable cost, the penalty cost. Because our cost, according to NSSF Act, if you don't remit your monthly contribution, it attracts 10%. Now, if you have not paid for a year, that means you have, whatever amount you've not paid, you have 120%. Assume you have not paid, you've not paid 100 million. That would mean you have 120% of 100 million.
Mr. Mwesigwa, one will actually ask, and of course this is a very practical question.
Yeah.
If you already know that we have 11,000 out of the 33,000 who are not compliant, so to speak, what has NSSF done so far to ensure that they, approach them and make them do what is needful?
There are so many initiatives. We do what we call on-site inspections. We do compliance auditing. We do sensitize. But we have also brought this that can attract the employers, because there is something for them in this initiative. And it's something that does not come more often, because I think we should have given them maybe a month, but we extended 3 months.
Right.
So you will not have a reason not to come and do self-disclosure. And when we close, now it's bad for you because you have paid. You are already struggling to pay. Now, instead of avoiding the penalty costs, you are going to incur the penalty cost. But also, you see, the relationship has to reach a certain point and it cannot continue. So we take the legal action against the employer. But that is our last resort. Our business model of engagement is relationship management. So we do what is humanly possible to bring these employers on board. But must they refuse or must they fail, then the legal path has to be taken.
Well, Mr. Tadeo, this is when we bring you in as well. But what happens for those now that actually fail to use this time to do what they need to?
Our appeal to, first of all, our employers is let them not let this window pass
without them coming to make their goods right. Because what we are going to do immediately after, we are going to take them on to court. We already have quite a number of litigations we have instituted against that level of employers you have talked about that are not paying. Around 174 cases are in court, and we are dealing with them expeditiously because those ones we have tried to engage and they have refused. So the other category right now in this window, now we have stopped litigation and we are saying there is this amnesty running up to 13th of May. Come over, disclose, let's deal with your books, let's make them right, and then we ensure that you bring on people's areas. And we are doing that. We are saying when you do it, we are not charging any penalty.
All right.
But should you fail, definitely we shall be left with no option but to come and take you on, and that's not a good relationship we want to establish.
So what if in this period, this amnesty window, as an employee, I come up and I say this is what's happened, instead of the employer, I come and use this window, what would happen? That this person, I have been working for this amount of time, they haven't been able to remit. What happens in that point in time? Is this waived off? Is it not? Do you go and meet them? Because these are the 90 days.
Okay. For now, what we are doing, is our whistleblower policy is continuous. So if you came as an employee and whistleblow against the employer who is not paying your contributions, we go in and tell them there is this case. Not necessarily a case, but your books are not right. Let us assess them, and we make sure that you pay. But you are only given this window. If you pay before this particular period, no penalty. But definitely you pay the interest for having held people's money, because we have to declare that interest on their accounts. We cannot waive the interest, but at least we shall waive the penalty.
All right. We have many people watching us today, and these are even in the brackets of them that are employed, so to speak. So teach us today, how do we go about knowing if our employers are actually remitting to the fund, so to speak, on a monthly basis? Because we do know that employers actually, contribute 5% to the kitty, and the employer needs to top up 10% of the same. So how do we go about knowing if our employers are doing what is right?
I think at NSSF we've taken it deliberately to empower the employees. As Tadeo has already said, one of the ways that we're empowering our employees is we have a whistleblower on our website. There is a tool, there is a platform. You just get into our website and you whistleblow. But also, I want to believe you guys receive the SMS alerts when your contributions are made. When they hit your NSSF account, then you are alerted. Your contribution for this month has been paid. Should you not see it, then that should ring a bell. Get back to your relationship manager. By the way, Duncan, I didn't get my contributions for maybe for March. What has happened? Then, but also, guys who are now able and can access internet, especially if you have a smartphone, I think the best thing is to download our app from Play Store, and you can always follow what is happening with your account. It's only when the employees are vigilant that we'll make sure that our statements are clean, they're up to date, to avoid such scenarios that at the time of retirement is when you are identifying the gaps in your statement.
Right.
That is too late. You want to have your money and go and do your own things.
Right.
You don't want now to get into, you see my month here is missing in maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now. So our deliberate focus is to empower employees to be vigilant, but also call upon the employers. At the end of the day, you guys, the workers, take good care of employers' business. So it should be reciprocal to take care of you when you will no longer gone to retirement.
There are a number of people who are nodding right now as they're watching, and they're saying, yes, this is necessary.
Yeah.
But who qualifies for this? Because one thing is, what kind of contract do you have with the company that's employing you? And who do you just wake up and say, I want this? Where are my benefits? But yet you, from the start, you've never had a contract that required you to actually be a part of this.
NSSF law does not segregate. As long as I'm employed, you see, the form of contract might differ, because you might have an oral contract, you might have a written contract, you might also have an implied contract. So we don't mind about the contract you have, but what we mind about, you are employed by that company. And as long as you are a Ugandan registered company and you're employing more than 5 people, then automatically the law requires you to save for your employees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, but now for someone who has not understood the different forms of contracts, can you just break it down and explain to them? I think maybe you can take it before we have Mr.
Vatadeo.
Yes.
Now, the oral contract is, I think, one of the most contracts we have with our people at home. Mm-hmm. The housemaids, the Shamba boys. You bring them and you give them a job. They don't have a contract. I think that's an oral contract. Then a written contract is what you have with NTV, what I have with NSSF. But an implied contract, without quoting the legal aspects of the contract in layman's language, if you allow me to come to your premise of work for 1 day, 2 days, a month, a year, it's an implied. I'm your employee. There is no question about it. And of course, there will be evidence that actually I work from your business premise.
Whether you have a written contract or not.
As long as they come
because I'm not a stranger.
Right.
Yes. Maybe I attend meetings, maybe I have registered where I sign.
What if there is nothing?
Actually, it's one of the challenges we have, where employers want to classify some of the employees as casual. Mm-hmm. But whether I'm casual or not, I need a saving. I mean, I'm contributing to the wealth creation of the organization. Mm-hmm. Then what are you, in reciprocal, what are you giving me in return that I will also fall back? Oh. Yeah. Okay. So that's the way we can look at those forms of contract.
Interesting.
Now, if you talk about how much money has been recovered from all of this, are we seeing any positive measures? What has gotten us out of the 90 days?
So far, it looks good, but we think it can be better. 4,000 employers have come forward.
From the 11,000?
From the 11,000, and have come and are telling us, this is where I was going wrong, and we are making their books right. And out of that, we have recovered some goods around 21 billion. And it's very important because that money was there, mm-hmm. and employers were not remitting it on behalf of their employees. So now it has come to NSSF, and to us we think it's a very positive aspect. But we think we can do much better because out of 21 out of the, I think the number has grown up to around 40 now. But the most important thing is we are looking at the other 160 billion we assessed at the beginning of the amnesty, which was really seated there. And we hope that in these remaining days, our employers are going to be very positive and are going to respond and come, because no one really wouldn't want to sort their books out unless they are not interested in their business.
Right. Let's talk about, as we come to a close, if, for example, I'm an employee and, my employer has been deducting this 5% every single month, and after, going through, the app or the website, I realize that the employer has not been remitting this amount on my behalf as well. What is the first step, ideally? What's the first step I should take with regards to whistleblowing and making sure that my identity is concealed? Because, once the employer knows this, many can actually fire you. So how does an employee go about, taking up this particular matter with NSSF?
First of all, according to NSSF Act, deducting someone's money and not remitting it, it's criminal. And I want to believe that our good employers out there are not getting themselves into deducting their staff 5% and using it. I want to believe that they are not doing it. If you are doing it, please desist. It's criminal. back to your question, if you realize anything to do with your savings that is anomaly, the best thing is to get to NSSF. Get the officers of NSSF, let them know what is happening. If you cannot and you want to use the online platform, just to go to our website and you will find the whistleblower tool platform. Then you can put whatever you want us to get to know. Mm-hmm. Of course, confidentiality is a must. We must protect you from the harassment, from the mistreatment you might get from the employers. Because remember, the 10% is a cost to employers.
Right.
If there are people of less integrity, maybe they might be tempted not to pay. So you want to deal with that delicate kind of balance of relationship.
What are the likely penalties, Mr. Tadio, of employers who are caught up in that scenario where they never remit this monies on behalf of the employees, but they deduct the 5%?
That penalty accrues every month, and it is a 10%.
All right.
And it's continuous, and we don't. That's if you didn't remit 100 million in this previous month, 10 million is due the next month as penalty when you are paying. So it is that bad.
And if it's criminal, is there any,
Yes, what we do is if you have consistently not come to sign a deed of settlement, let us know that you have not been paying this money and we are not in this amnesty window and you are not under any amnesty of sorts, we take you on to court. And those are the 174 that I told you earlier on that we are already, and you can never defeat NSSF in court because it is a clear thing. You have to pay people's money. So when we go there, usually in court what they help us do is do what we are doing here. Discuss an amnesty with this person and see how best you can be able to clear.
I love your confidence. You can never defeat NSSF in court.
So you need to take advantage of it.
But also the employers, we've made it easy for them. We have what we call a self-assessment tool on our website where you just punch in the numbers and you are able to tell how much you owe to NSSF without necessarily coming to NSSF.
All right.
And just see how to get that money to NSSF immediately before you're taken to court.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming in studios. We're joined by Mr. David Mwesigwa. He is the contributions manager at NSSF, together with Mr. Tadio Twahirwa. He is the senior relationships manager at NSSF. Thank you so much for coming in studios.
Yes. Thanks for hosting
Thank
us.
you so much. All right. So I hope that you've taken note, guys. Yes. So if you have been on that side where your employer is actually remitting but not submitting on your behalf to NSSF, you have the opportunity to be a whistleblower. So make sure that you take it up. That's it for Take Note. Don't go too far. We'll be back with reality on the ground.
What would you define fashion as? It's not something you simply wear, nor is it anything you envision it to be.
Honestly, I feel like when I look at the bottom of this outfit, the skirt, it reminds